Porsche admits now that it not only spent, but also learnt an awful lot about hybrids from the 918 Spider project of 2013. Yet most of that knowledge was still too fresh off the drawing board to have made much of a difference to the previous generation Cayenne Hybrid. But this all-new model benefits from a huge amount of 918 know-how beneath the skin, says Porsche, and it's become a genuine high-performance vehicle as a result. So it is not just an eco-warrior, in other words. There is an awful lot to take in with this new Cayenne E-Hybrid, and that's because there is just so much range to what you can do with it, so many different settings that you can put it into. I mean, the lazy way to drive the car is just to, with this little circular rotational button here, which is straight out of the 918, which is quite cool, as is the steering wheel, by the way. But the easiest mode to put it into is hybrid, in which case you get the car working out itself what it wants, which mode it wants to be in, whether it wants to use the combustion engine, which is 340 horsepower, or the electric engine. Sometimes it'll knock it right back and you can just be in E mode, even though you're in hybrid mode. It'll just knock the combustion engine out of the picture if it senses that the conditions are right and that that's how you're driving. And then you can have both engines working at the same time, the electric motor and the combustion engine, in which case you get the full beans, 455 horsepower and 700 newton meters of torque, which is not to be sniffed at. I mean, this thing is properly quick when you put it into that mode. Thanks to a combined 455 bhp and a thumping 700 newton meters of torque from its V6 petrol engine and 100 kilowatt electric motor, the four-wheel drive Cayenne Hybrid can hit 60 miles an hour in just 4.7 seconds. Has a top speed of 157 miles an hour. It costs a surprisingly competitive 67 grand and, says Porsche, can give 88 miles to the gallon on a combined cycle. The interesting thing is that the hybrid is priced almost identically to the V6 S model, which is a twin turbo V6. This thing's got a single turbo and the electric motors. But in the V6 S, which costs the same money as this, you get less power, you get less torque, you get massively more fuel consumption and more emissions, and yet there's no trade-off, except for the fact that the whole hybrid system weighs about another 300 kilograms. Now that's quite a big trade-off, yes, but it only really comes in terms of handling composure. But I don't know, this thing seems to handle and ride and steer pretty nicely to me. There are 4 driving modes to choose from in the Cayenne Hybrid: full EV, hybrid, sport and sport plus. The default mode on startup is full electric, in which the Cayenne has a 27-mile range and can do 88 miles an hour. In hybrid mode, the Cayenne will adapt to an individual's driving style and, as if by magic, select the correct driving mode accordingly, switching between full EV and petrol EV as and when it needs to, and with supreme smoothness on the move. In sport, you get the petrol engine and the electric motor all the time, but not quite the full beans maps for the throttle, 8-speed gearbox, steering or exhaust. And in Sport Plus mode, you get the lot, all 455 bhp, all the time, plus the most effective regeneration mode for the brakes and drivetrain. And this helps recharge the batteries much more quickly than a plug can on the move. Sounds massively complex, yes, but in practice it all works incredibly well and is a lot more intuitive to use than you might think. The gearbox is an 8-speed Tiptronic, not a PDK. They put the Tiptronic in the Cayenne, whether it's a hybrid or a V8 or a V6, because they say, Porsche, that the towing capability of the car is just that much better, that much sweeter and smoother with the Tiptronic gearbox compared with if they put a PDK in it, which is fair enough, because you know you can tow 750 kilograms worth of weight behind you in this thing, I reckon, and that's a factor. It really is. You can definitely tell that this is a Porsche from the way it steers. The weighting of the power steering, the electric power steering, obviously, is, well, it varies across the modes, but it's always quite light, but it's very, very accurate. And although this is a big old wagon, you really can place it super accurately on the road. You've got total faith that you can put the Cayenne Hybrid anywhere you want to put it through a corner at pretty much any speed as well. It's a really satisfying, interesting car to drive, the Cayenne Hybrid. I think they got the previous car a little bit wrong in terms of the way they presented it. They presented it as the kind of intelligent, economical, emissions-friendly version of the Cayenne, but this one, they're saying, is basically a sports car. It is not a full-blown sports car, but you know what they mean. It's just because you've got the hybrid stuff involved in this car doesn't mean to say that you lose the sporting intent of it. Quite the opposite, actually, and they've really learned, they say, from the 918. The 918 was still very, very fresh when the previous generation Cayenne Hybrid came out, but with this one, they've had years to learn from the 918 program, and my goodness me, does it show. This car, it's not just interesting, it's just really, really good. I love it.
Click on the video windows to watch a drag race between the new Jaguar I-Pace and a Tesla Model X, or a track battle between the Cayenne Turbo and a Range Rover SVR. Click on the play icon to watch our latest video, or on our logo to subscribe.